Hi there, I'm Alicia Butler-Pierre, owner of Equilibria Inc., a 14-and-a-half-year-old operations management consulting firm. And I want to share a personal story with you today. Before I get into the meat and the crux of this video, I want to first share my personal story with you about how I came to actually realizing that I in fact even needed a content calendar for my own company. My background is actually in chemical engineering, and my career started with me working in different chemical plants and oil refineries. And after about 8 years of doing that, I left New Orleans, Louisiana, relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, where I only knew one person. And after about 2 months of what seemed to be endless job searching, I decided for the amount of time, effort, and energy that I was spending in looking for an opportunity to work for someone else, I could redirect that same time, effort, and energy into creating an opportunity for myself. So after a period of self-reflection, I realized that my natural God-given talent and ability lay in organizing things. No matter what type of job I had, whether it was working in an oil refinery as a chemical engineer or when I was flipping burgers as a teenager in high school, I've always been really good at organizing my work, and it's always lent itself to me being successful in whatever I did. So fast forward, I started my company, and over the years it has developed and evolved into what it is today. And one of the things that I came to realize, I think it was maybe about in 2008, 2009, I started really hearing about social media, and I had no idea what it was, wasn't interested. I just saw it as a way of wasting my time, honestly, because I had to work with my clients, and I literally just didn't have time to do it. But over the years, people kept saying more and more, you really need to do this on LinkedIn, you need to get on Twitter, you need to get on YouTube, you need to get on Facebook, all of these different platforms. But what no one was ever really able to tell me was the why. And for me, before I can ever fully adapt something or adopt it to be a principle that I apply in my own company, I have to understand that why. Why am I doing this? And so it wasn't until I wrote my book, and I took pretty much all of the year 2018 off to write my book. At the end of 2018, in December, I kind of had my own come to Jesus moment. And I told myself, I literally kind of had like a pep talk with myself, and I said, okay, baby girl, you cannot go into 2019 being a mess. You have all of this content, and there really wasn't any rhyme or reason to it. So yes, I had a monthly newsletter. I had been blogging for about 7 years, maybe even 8. I had posted some things on SlideShare over the years. I had done a few posts on LinkedIn even, but it was all very fragmented. It wasn't cohesive. There was no overarching strategy to really dictate how I wrote the content and what the content would be about. And then I had an epiphany in December 2018. And it's going to sound so simple when you hear this, but it has literally made all the difference in the world in my company. What I realized is that my business is really a media company that just happens to talk about business infrastructure. And let me explain what I mean. Just like Coca-Cola is really an advertising company that just happens to sell soda, and McDonald's and Starbucks are really real estate companies that just happen to sell burgers and coffee, the same was true with my company. It's really a media company. And when I started to really think about that, I took an inventory of all of the content that I had created and posted online since I started my company. And I realized that without even really knowing it, I had literally created the world's largest repository on the subject of business infrastructure for small businesses specifically. Wow. And that epiphany literally changed everything. So what I want to share with you, I felt I needed to give you some context to kind of let you know how I came to this moment of really figuring out how to create a content calendar and how to keep generating content over and over and over again so that people could get the word about all of these different systems and these processes and these demonstrations to scale their businesses. What I did first, I actually went to Office Depot and I bought a desktop calendar. I'm gonna stand up now. I bought a desktop calendar for $5.99, or maybe it was even $4.99. And starting with January, I think I have January back toward the back somewhere, but you get the idea. The first thing that I said I was going to do was literally start planning out by the quarter. What is going to be the theme for every single month? And based on that theme, that's going to help me figure out what type of blog post content to write, what content should go into my company's newsletter, what type of videos to potentially produce on YouTube, what to tweet about, what to post about on Facebook, what to post about on LinkedIn, so forth and so on. You get the point. The first thing that I do now is I look at the month ahead and I take Post-it notes first. And I just start thinking about when I want certain pieces of content to actually quote unquote drop or be released or go live, whatever the term is that you prefer to use. So this is just an example of March, which for me as of the taping of this video was last month, March 2019. And I have a weekly podcast. So the very first thing that I do when I look at my content calendar, a blank calendar, I start populating this Sunday column. So I now know exactly when certain episodes will air. I can think through that ahead of time, and once it's planned out, I don't have to think about it again. The next thing that I do is I know that I like to have some type of a social media engagement and content sent out there in the social media universe every single day. So it's not on here, but actually let me pick up April. Let me just put this down now. This is what April looks like. So the theme is letting go to grow. So everything that I blog about, tweet about, do a video on, podcasting, everything resonates to this one theme. It removes so much of the guesswork because that used to be a big part of my issue. What the heck am I going to write about? What am I going to talk about? What am I going to give a demonstration about? But now that I know that I have this overarching theme every month, it removes so much of that guesswork. So as you can see here, again, I have all of the podcasts. It's color coded too, by the way, so that's all in purple. And I'm also doing podcast interviews. I don't do podcast interviews every day, but whenever I do get podcast interviews lined up, that's when I put that onto the calendar in purple. But here you'll see it says daily tweets, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram posts. And I just kind of draw a straight line across. And that's to illustrate this is something that has to be done every single day. I also put on here my SlideShare content. If I'm going to upload a new SlideShare presentation, I strategically put when I want that to take place. Also a YouTube video release, as well as my newsletter content information. Now here's the beauty of this. And Kimberly Fennell, the wonderful woman who helps me put together my newsletters every month, can certainly attest to this. I am usually scrambling at the last minute to get the newsletter content information over to her so that she can make it look nice and pretty and send it out through MailChimp. Well, through this new system, because now I know when that newsletter is going to come out, and because this literally sits on top of my desk, I can plan ahead, and whenever I have some downtime, I can start writing out the content for my newsletter. I also take this information, and every Sunday evening, I then tell my social media content manager, hey, this is kind of what I want us to talk about this particular week. And she takes care of those daily LinkedIn, Facebook posts, Twitter, tweets, so forth and so on. So I just wanted to share this content calendar with you. The other thing that I'd like to point out is Whenever I write a blog post, do a YouTube video, a podcast, I have notes that are being generated from each of those source material pieces of content. And that's what feeds into those daily, the microblogging, like Twitter and Facebook posts and LinkedIn posts. Again, it's all working as one cohesive system. It's removed so much guesswork, and I can't say enough about it. It has truly been a godsend. I hope that you can implement something very similar. Again, it doesn't have to be something big and tangible like this, but for me this really helps because again, it's in my face. I see it literally every day because it's on top of my desk. No, it may not be the prettiest, but it is incredibly effective, and hopefully you can do the same thing in your company as well. If you have questions about how I created this content calendar, how I even come up with my content, please reach out to me, leave a comment below, ask questions. I promise you I will answer your questions as soon as I can. And if you also want to learn more about how you can implement some other really cool visual systems just to kind of help tie in all of these different things that you may be working on and don't really have a cohesive framework built around it, definitely check out my book. It's called Behind the Facade: How to Structure Company Operations for Sustainable Success. In particular, I want to point out chapter 6, which features an entrepreneur who is also at kind of a crossroads, and that chapter is called Red Pill or Blue Pill. And the entrepreneur in that story actually owns a real estate mortgage company, and she's literally at a point where she's realizing, maybe I'm not really in the real estate mortgage business. Maybe I am also in the media business. In her case, she's actually on a reality TV show that happens to deal with real estate. But through a process of going through her systems, figuring out the people, the processes, and the key tools and technologies that she needs, she reaches an epiphany also, and she's able to take her business to even greater heights. So I think you would really enjoy reading that story. You can find it on Amazon. I'll also have a link below in the description. Don't forget to like, please subscribe to the channel, because I promise, having a system like this, honey, you can best believe that I am going to start creating even more YouTube videos, but I can't do that and I don't know what exactly to talk about if you don't give me feedback. So if there's something you'd like to see me give a demonstration on, also let me know that in the comments as well. Thanks so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed the video that you just watched. My friend Jesser, who's actually recording this video right now, actually brought up a really good point. It's something that I think is worth mentioning to you. Don't beat yourself up. Look, as an entrepreneur, I get it, you're very busy, and it does take a while to set these systems up. Look, I've been in business almost 15 years now, and I had to come up with these systems over a period of years, honestly, before I was able to really perfect what would work best for me and my company. But just pace yourself, don't get overwhelmed. Again, if you have questions, definitely reach out to me. You can start that by leaving a comment in the comment description below.